Excuse me, would you mind taking a photo of us?
Yeah, no problem. Hey, everybody say cheese.
Oh, actually, I'm a vegan. Could you please have us say something else?
Okay, everybody say tofu.
Tofu is actually not as good for you as vegans think. Any CrossFitter will tell you that. It's bad for your testosterone levels.
How about we all just smile?
Oh, if one more asks me to smile.
Not really enough. Taking a photo for you, so...
What's there to smile about anyway?
Would you like me to just count backwards from 3?
Oh, would you like dyslexic people to just not exist?
My cousin has dyslexia, so offended.
Adopted. Don't even know who my cousins are, so more offended.
How about this? We all put a word we're comfortable with in our heads, and I'll get the shot.
No, it doesn't sound very inclusive, though, does it? I suppose you'd like us all to stand a few metres apart, would you, Stalin?
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I don't see what religion has to do with this.
Well, I'm an atheist, so majorly triggered.
Is that a comment on the gun debate? Still trying to control people.
But it's not just the people. Has anyone thought about the animals?
Look, this is what we're going to do. Everybody throw up a peace sign, and I'll take a photo.
Wow. Cultural appropriation is alive and well. Why don't you just ask us to say kung fu?
Guess what? New plan, group selfie, ready, set, go, boom. And looks awesome. You're going to love it.
Wait, you took it with a front camera, you stupid cyclist.
No wonder nothing gets done anymore, and I would have just thrown the phone away. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name's Luke Rudowski here of WeAreChange.org, and there's a lot of absolutely crazy and wild news to get into today, as, of course, the situation is not all right. And a lot of billionaires and millionaires are prepping their doomsday bunkers. What's really going on here? Why are they doing this? What's at stake here? Well, a lot. As of course, domestically and internationally, the news is extremely tumultuous and probably going to be getting a lot more tumultuous from here. But that doesn't mean we have to be Debbie Downers about it. And that's what we're going to be discussing on this independent media broadcast. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing, you can get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. And the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast was made by, I have no idea who, but there's someone randomly that posted it on Twitter. I don't know who made this amazing comedy sketch. It looks very professionally done, and whoever did it, shouts out to them. If you know who they are, let us know in the comment section below so we could attribute them correctly, as of course we need more comedy. Because if we're not laughing, we're absolutely crying at the utter state of our society. That definitely does seem is being genetically engineered by social media algorithms that, of course, try to shape our perceptions and mindsets in some really curious ways where we are usually triggered, angry about some of the pettiest, most insane, nonsensical things that don't actually really matter. What does matter is, I think, what's happening internationally right now as the larger proxy war between the East and the West is ramping up in Ukraine, as, of course, the battles there, as of recent events, are only intensifying. As the debate wages on about how involved the United States and other NATO countries could be involved more in this conflict, as now the Pentagon is considering quickly sending more aid and weapons to Ukraine, as the president of Russia just directly made a threat against the West with nuclear weapons. This as Vladimir Putin is now accusing NATO and the United States of preparing to strike Russia during his annual address to the nations, as he's warning about the destruction of civilization. This as there are also other reports going around that Russia is moving around their nuclear weapons. This as the conflict in Ukraine might potentially even expand to Moldova, where a breakaway region in that country is asking Russia for protection, as pro-Russian groups in that specific region no longer want to live under Moldova. Now, will Russia see this as a pretext to help the Russian-speaking population of that specific region? Well, only time will tell, as of course the situation is very complicated, as that region is located right next to Ukraine, not too far away from the region that the Russians are currently occupying right now. This as still many NATO member states do not follow one of the guiding principles of being a part of NATO and aren't spending enough on their military, as even today the Daily Mail is reporting that the once great British Navy might soon be forced to sell their aircraft carrier because of their, quote, funding issues. This as many Western leaders are telling Europe to pay for Europe's war, And because of that larger conflict inside of Europe, this is why I believe a lot of very powerful individuals are seeing a destabilized foreign policy, global hegemony of the American petrodollar put in question as one of the reasons why they're looking at, quote, doomsday bunkers. This as The Sun is reporting that Mark Zuckerberg's doomsday bunker in Hawaii is, quote, sparking frenzy for multi-million apocalypse home with moats and water cannons. Yes, you heard that correctly. As now several developers are coming out and saying that they have been sold out and extremely busy since Mark Zuckerberg started building his own massive facilities underneath his property in Hawaii, as building doomsday bunkers seems like one of the only few profitable businesses out there under the Bidenomics Build Back Better policies that, of course, threaten a full-out global conflict and war. Now, it's important to note here that Mark Zuckerberg broke ground on his massive facility in 2021, and as a major Democratic financer and broker and major Democratic areas, it's fair to say that he is privy to information that a lot of us are not. What does he know that's having him literally build a bunker in his home is the question that a lot of people are asking themselves, as after this news broke of this $270 million, 57,000 square foot doomsday bunker facility. This has sparked a lot of rumors, a lot of concerns, as of course Mark Zuckerberg was just seen in Japan, where he is allegedly blown away by his visit to the island country, whose population is literally disappearing right in front of our eyes. As Elon Musk just tweeted, quote, Japan will disappear if something doesn't change, retweeting not the Babylon Bee, with their article highlighting the extremely low birth rates in Japan, describing how every 2 people die for every baby that's born, highlighting how a doomsday scenario could be literally not enough people having babies and children. As of course, if you look at birth rates in the Western world, we are facing a destruction of civilization, not from atomic weapons, not from wars, not from engineered germs, not from civil strife and chaos, not from water or food shortages, but from people not literally having children. That's a legitimate threat, a serious threat that, of course, not a lot of people are taking seriously. And, of course, one of many threats facing humanity as, let's just be honest here, natural disasters are just as prevalent as human disasters caused by our erroneous mistakes. This as we are getting a lot of different reports from all over the world about billionaires, even millionaires, building their own survivalist bunkers. As, of course, the situation definitely isn't stable on the world stage. As, of course, it's also important to note a lot of Western elites have a lot of properties in places like New Zealand, Latin America, where some scientists predict would be the perfect region to be in if there was something like, nuclear fallout. All of this as the situation between Russia and the United States becomes more unpredictable. Domestically, the situation becomes more unstable, and our central planners are becoming more and more resentful of the local populations, as it's important to note that during moments of tragedy, during moments of panic, the elites, the politicians will, of course, all leave, as perfectly described by Tucker Carlson, that recently called out the former president of the United States, George W. Bush, for running away in 2001 when the country was under attack.
3 kids, and he ran away to some Air Force base in South Dakota. And I thought that was cowardly, and I said so at the time. And was I attacked for saying that. And I wrote a column about it in New York Magazine, where I then had a column, hard to believe. And, but I felt that. Like I think the prerequisites of leadership are really basic. The first is caring about the people you lead. That's number one. Deep in the way a father cares for his children, or an officer cares for his troops. A president should care for his people. And that leads inexorably to the next requirement, which is bravery, physical courage. And I believe in that. And I'm not like some tough guy, but I just think it's obvious if you're in charge, I'm at my house and I feel like someone broke in. I'm not going to say to my wife, hey, baby, go deal with the home invasion. I'm going to deal with it because I'm dad. Okay. So if you're the president of a country and your capital city is attacked, as ours was at the Pentagon, and you run away, well, the Secret Service told me to. Bitch, are you in charge? Like, who's daddy here? The Secret Service? Do you know what I mean? I found that totally contemptible.
And it is, as of course, whatever the next thing will be. You could bet your bottom dollar they're going to run to their bunkers and you're kind of left on your own accords. And that's one reason out of many reasons why I created LukeUnfiltered.com, not just to give you exclusive videos almost every single day, but more importantly, to build communities with like-minded individuals, which is exactly what we are going to be doing this Saturday in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 4 p.m. Eastern for members of LukeUnfiltered.com and, of course, members who signed up on my exclusive Twitter account. As, of course, your participation is critically important to the survival of this independent media organization that is dealing with some financial concerns here. I'll just be blunt. I'll just be honest. We need your help. We need your support. You can support us directly through LukeUnfiltered.com, where we work with you trying to build communities, trying to build networks, as, of course, your memberships not only give you access to in-real-life events that, by the way, we did in California, we did in Milwaukee, we did in Texas, we did all over the United States. We're going to be expanding those. Your memberships help bring people together. You are a part of the larger, bigger cultural battles in front of us by signing up to LukeUnfiltered.com, getting to understand what we're doing, being a part of it, sustaining it, and also getting a lot of perks because of it, as we have a lot of different topics, a lot of different issues to discuss in today's special broadcast just available for members, as of course, it's going to be freaking awesome to be able to see some of you guys, break bread with you guys, and most importantly, see who is in the local area, as during times of crises, a lot of us don't have bunkers. We have each other. We have a community. We have individuals who have certain skills, who could do certain things that, of course, could come together and say, hey, if something happens like here in Florida, like a hurricane, okay, hey, here's the radio communications that we could talk to each other. Hey, I have a farm. I'll trade you for gas. Hey, I have this particular skill that I could teach you, and that right there is something worth a lot more than those $1 million frickin' bunkers, as of course a community, a friendship. It's something that you can't even put a dollar sign on, as of course it's more important than ever how you spend your time, the people you're surrounded with. It's critically important, and that's why I look forward to seeing all of you incredible people this Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where all of us will be hanging out, breaking bread, and just getting to know each other. As, of course, the news still doesn't stop, as there's so much other frickin' news happening right now in our current political discourse, as Donald Trump was just stripped of his primary ballot in Illinois as the Supreme Court decided to hear his case about the political prosecution that's happening by the federal government against him for alleged election interference, as the Supreme Court most likely will rule in the favor of the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, who also is visiting the border the same time that Joe Biden is. Joe Biden's visit, though, is avoiding a lot of, the migrants, the gangs, the piles of trash, the border guards, the fences, as of course his visit is going to be a very PR marketed, orchestrated event, moving away from, all the cartels and drug smugglers and human trafficking that, of course, happens there, that is being facilitated by many government agencies and secretive billionaires that are literally waging a war against blue-collar, average, everyday Americans. This, as immigration is becoming the top issue for this election cycle, and one of the reasons why Donald Trump is ahead of the polls as he is right now. And again, story after story, you just hear of tremendous human suffering that is being facilitated, as places like New York City will now be issuing a congestion tax for people just wanting to visit and drive into Manhattan in order to pay for their crumbling infrastructure that is under decay, because the government there, even though they tax you record amounts of money, can't pay to keep the city up and running, as we are hearing about more and more victims like Laken Riley all throughout the United States that Democratic mayors and politicians are trying to excuse as some kind of a larger coinky-dink, and as of course we know, it is not. I have a lot more to say about this. I'm going to be saying that plus a lot more, all on LukeUnfiltered.com, a special report just for members coming up right now. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys signing up to that. I'm excited to see you guys this Saturday, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, and this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.